just a few short chants here. People's over pipelines.
People's over pipelines.
People 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 over pipelines.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Gary Bryce. Gary represents the Louisville chapter of Black Lives Matter. He is a teacher, activist, protester, event organizer, poet, rapper, actor, playwright, play director, producer, and all-around great human being.
Thank you all so much. What a beautiful space that is so necessary for us to take up, unfortunately. The tyranny of the American government. I stand here representing the Louisville chapter of Black Lives Matter. We affirm, our guiding principle, we affirm that all Black lives do indeed matter. And I'm here today to let you all know that we understand that what's going on at Standing Rock also matters. It is not right. It is not right. It is not right. It is not right. Just today, 22 protesters got arrested at Standing Rock today. They used security contractors against the people who are native to this land. Is this Iraq or is this America? Black Lives Matter stands in solidarity with Standing Rock. Black Lives Matter stands in absolute solidarity with lifting Solid Rock on social media. Black Lives Matter stands in solidarity with Standing Rock by sending bodies to Standing Rock. It's some amazing organization that's going on between the organizers on the ground at Standing Rock and the organizers within the BLM network, which is very reassuring. They reached out to us about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We got on a conference call with them. We've been sending bodies out. BLM chapters have been sending bodies to Standing Rock to stand in solidarity because it is not right. This is 2016. And the people who are native to this land are still fighting for their rights to this land, for access to clean water, for oil so that we can drive down these asphalt streets in our beautiful cars. For what? For what? I love these signs. Water is life. People over pipelines. BLM, Black Lives Matter Louisville, and the national network stands with Standing Rock. I thank you all. I don't want to take up too much space. Thank you all so much.
Water is life.
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 Thank you. Thank you. Our next presenter is Susan Klassen. Susan is a co-member of the Sisters of Loretto and manages the Cedars of Peace Retreat Center there. She was active in the recent battle and victory against the proposed Bluegrass Pipeline.
There are so many reasons why this pipeline is wrong and why it must be stopped. I took the word stop and each letter, S-T-O-P. S, it must be stopped because these are sacred lands, sovereign land. That's right. Yes. Our experience as the community of the Sisters of Loretto, we just glimpsed a piece of what it means to feel like our sovereign, sacred land was at risk. And so with just that glimpse, so our 200 years on that land of Loretto is like a drop in the bucket for the length of time, the number of generations of Native people who have been caring for their land, who have been entrusted with the care of that land. And when land that has been entrusted to someone is at risk, I think people who have no sense of the power of place have no sense of the power that has been unleashed by the threat to these sacred lands. It's like the heart of a volcano. That core of fire, of historic, cultural, and
everyone. I say love water, you say not oil. Love water.
Not oil.
Love water.
Not oil.
Love water.
Not oil.
Love water.
Not oil.
Thank you. So now, let's see. Hold on a second here. We're gonna have a few moments. Not counting the traffic, we're gonna have a few moments of human silence here. So I would suggest that everyone face the street and hold your sign towards the street, all face the same way, and just be silent. If you want to hold your fist in the air, that's okay. We're gonna take about 2 minutes. We're gonna think about our brave Indigenous folks at Standing Rock right now, to imagine what it's like to be in their shoes, and to thank them for their incredible patience and courage in protecting Mother Earth. So we start the silence now. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We will continue with a few more speakers. Good afternoon, my relatives.
Good afternoon.
My name is Matthew Black Eagle Man. I'm a registered tribal member at Long Plain First Nation Indian Reserve out of Manitoba, Canada. Just a few
years ago, I happened to be involved when we first were standing up to the KXL pipeline. And I was involved with the organization of the Cowboy and Indian Alliance when we went to Washington, D.C. to stand up and make a declaration ride in the Capitol. And so we brought in 26 horses and we did a ceremonial ride to protest that KXL pipeline. I was really honored to be a part of that, participate and represent my people there. While I was sitting on my horse waiting for everybody else to get ready, one of the grandmothers from Pine Ridge came up to me and she had a staff. And on that staff was the original Fort Laramie Treaty. I believe it was in 1851, the first time they signed a treaty, my people, with the American government. And we all know that in time, as history is revealed, we have been treated very badly by the treaties that were made with us. So these people at Pine Ridge, they decided to take this lie that was the treaty, and they made an eagle staff with that. The first one, they made an eagle staff with that, and they put that in the hoop of that eagle staff. And these grandmothers carried this eagle staff to Washington, D.C. And they stood there and they came up to me and they asked me, will you carry this eagle staff for our people? And I said, oh, who's it for? What's it represent? And they told me the story about that first treaty that was a pack of lies. But it wasn't that she wanted to initiate any kind of hostility about it being a pack of lies, only to put it there as hope that someday the United States government would stand up and honor what they say that they're going to do. And in that way, they always have that eagle staff represented among our people, and they travel with that eagle staff to places where we have conflict or issues that people take against, not just in this place, Indian people, but all people. One of the things that I wanted to always say about this, what's happening, there's so many different avenues of availability to fight this, to go after this. So just recently we were up in Indiana University, and I talked to the students there to tell them, listen, you have the minds that's going to come out into the world, and we're looking for somebody to stand up and properly represent us. Don't lose your way. Stay focused on what your heart tells you to do. And be strong in who you are. You can change the world for us. We need that. It's not working anymore. The system is failing us. So step outside that box that our society has put you in. Step outside that box. Use your minds to put us into places that we need to go. And it will take time to do that. It will take some brilliant minds to do that. Other sources of energy, renewable, sustainable living. I think our people are waking up to this very issue right now all over the world. I've seen it all over the world. Representatives that speak of this very issue here. And so I know in the solidarity with Black Lives Matter, the solidarity with South Africa, Australia, the solidarity with Brazil, the solidarity with all these countries that are standing up to represent and defend what our people can't defend on their own. One statistic I want to share with you. In the population of the world, in the voice of minorities, Native American people carry 0.002% of the population of the United States of America. Minuscule, and it's not newsworthy because it doesn't affect the proper number of people that would make something newsworthy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so we need all voices to stand up to stop the black snake, stop these pipelines. That's only the secondary problem that we're looking at, though. The primary problem is the fracking.
Yes.
Right.
The destruction that it takes is 3.5 million gallons of water to frack one well. 3.5 million gallons of water. That's almost 6 Olympic-sized swimming pools worth of poison being shot into the ground and destroying our earth. That's perspective on that. So the primary issue is the fracking. The pipeline's a secondary issue. But the thing that I wanted to say as a lobbyist point of view, if I was ever to become a lobbyist, I would like to give and I would like to see a response of people from everywhere. If you hear about this and want to share this, what I'd like to see happen, please help me share this everywhere. I would like to buy every senator, every congressman, every person that sits on a committee that represents the people, one bottle of water. And I want to give them that one bottle of water, and I want you to take that bottle of water and save it for your 7th generation so that child will have a good drink of water. That's my lobbyist plea. How are we going to look at combating what we're looking at? Send clean water to them by the bottle. Make them recognize it when they piles up on their front steps and there's nothing but water piled up there. They're going to notice that. They're going to know you sent a voice, not just a voice, but also a bottle of water. Take action. Call the people that represent you. Take action. That's what we have to do. 0.002% of the population is not enough to make a change. But then we also have to consider this. They'll reroute the infrastructure of a highway for a bug. They'll reroute the infrastructure of anything, stop construction over a marshland or a wetland that needs to be protected and preserved. My question is this: when is the genocide against my people gonna stop? It's been proven that Native American people have an issue working with sugar in our bodies. Alcoholism and diabetes are two of the most harmful diseases that my people suffer from. But also in the DNA that we have as people, that DNA does not allow us to process petroleum-based products in any way, and they go straight to cancer in our glands. Right now, the tar sands in Alaska have poisoned a tribe of people to the point of 65% of this tribe is dying of cancer of the tar sands caused by fracking and pipelines. This tribe will be dead. The extinction of a race of people is what's on the line here. People don't understand how it feels to be a race of people so minuscule and left behind in the social justice system. We're not sitting here crying foul or look at me. At this point, it's become crying foul and look at yourselves too, because it's not about Indian people anymore. But even this is it's the shoe that will kill our people. This is the final shoe that will drop. How can we fix it? There's no way to fix it. We only have to stop it. So I want to tell each and every one of you how much I appreciate you coming out to represent, to listen to these words and stand in solidarity with people all over the world to say stop it with these cancer-causing, these harmful, earth-depleting issues that we have to deal with. I know I say this, and at the same time as a Dakota man, I feel like a hypocrite because I drove here today. But we have to think about how we're going to look at sustainability even among ourselves. What can we do to help reduce this? Reduce the emissions, reduce reuse. How can we do better as a people? We can't just sit here and say, well, these people in the big money are making these decisions. We're creating demand for those decisions, so we have to think about these things as people. So I just want to say this much and tell each of you how much I love you, and I appreciate you coming here to listen and help protest and stand up for this Dakota Access Pipeline, protecting our water.
Pretty good walk on, huh? Thank you, sir. So our next speaker is Representative Reginald Meeks, a progressive Democrat, has represented Kentucky House District 42 for 15 years. He has a law degree, works at U of L, and has Native American heritage. Years ago, he was adopted into the Ojibwe Nation, and now has family on the White Earth Reservation in Minnesota. Representative Meeks.
Hello. It is my duty to be here today. Many of us have been given responsibilities that require us to come before groups like yourselves to share, to teach, but also to learn. I'm here to learn. I see the signs behind me. We stand with Standing Rock. If you've ever been to Standing Rock, you know how beautiful that place is. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous reservation. If you've been to White Earth, you know how beautiful the land is. And projects like this that make money for people whose offices are in buildings like this will destroy not just the land, but the people as well. And if they can destroy them, it's a short step to being able to destroy you and me. The Ohio River is vital to us as a people. We identify with it as a community. It's important to this state and to this nation. And if you can think about the concept of poison being dumped in the Ohio River and then you having to drink it, you would not stand for it, would you? It's bad enough as it is. It is 10 times worse when you talk about the possibility of the kinds of products that are involved in the pipeline we're talking about. 10 times worse. The cancer that exists on reservations across the country, we would not stand for those numbers. The government would not stand for you and me to be dying at the numbers and the rates that Native people are doing all across this country. But yet and still, they can ignore what's happening at Standing Rock and what's happening on reservations across the country. It's not right. It's ungodly. And we in Kentucky, of all people, should recognize our solidarity with this cause. Just last year, the people of Kentucky rose up and said, no pipeline across my property. Just last year, we stopped it. We of all people should understand what the people of Standing Rock and other reservations, other Indian lands across this country are saying about these pipelines. The words that Matt spoke are wise. They're true and honest. We as a people cannot be looked at as being the byproduct of profit for corporations. And believe me, the core of this pipeline is about profit for corporations. It's about profit for corporations that have not a clue what you and I and Native people are going through on these reservations and in these lands. We wouldn't stand for it, and I am so proud to be among a group of Louisvillians who will not stand for it on behalf of people who are not here to speak for themselves. I ask that as we go into session in January, that you stay connected to us, because regardless of what happens on November the 8th or the 8th, I guess it is, no matter what happens in that election, we are still going to have serious issues that demand your ongoing input and contact with, regardless of who's in the White House. But before we get to that point, I ask that you touch the people in your circle, the people whose lives you're in contact with. Make them aware of what's going on out in South Dakota. Make them aware of what's going on in North Dakota. make them aware of what's happening on Indian lands in Alaska and in Canada and in Montana and in Arizona. These lands are not for sale, they are not for profit, and they are not for us. Last thing I want to say is thank all of the people who were involved in putting together this event. Stay with them, support them, share your talents and skills with them. Please stay together as a group, as a community, and as a human body. Thank you so much.
So our next presenter is Ann Walter, Director of Drepung Gomang Center for Engaging Compassion, a Tibetan Buddhist Dharma Center and Compassion Education Center here in Louisville. She is an interfaith-focused minister and bridge builder who considers herself blessed to have worked among Native Americans in Chicago for nearly a decade. Ann.
I'm so grateful for the speakers here today. I stand here because we're all part of the same family. I was very blessed to work for a long time among Native people in Chicago. My adopted family is also Anishinaabe from White Earth in Minnesota. And what I know is that although Native American people may make up only 0.002 of the whole U.S. population, that is enough to lead us. Yeah. Woo! And the rest of us. And the rest of us. I was co-founder and leader of the Indian Treaty Rights Committee in Chicago for many years. And one of the things we did is we stood in solidarity with the Ojibwe people in Wisconsin who were fighting for their treaty rights for spearfishing. And they were able, though it was a great uphill battle, we were able to maintain their rights, their treaty rights, to recommit, for the U.S. government to recommit to their treaty rights. As we heard earlier, many ceremonial prayers are ended with "all my relatives." And it is really true, we are really all relatives. We are really all family of the same earth. We share this good and only earth, and we respect the earth as our relative as well. I know each of us who's here wants to live in peace. I know each one of us wants to care for our children. I know we want to avoid suffering and have what we need, but we need to think of the seventh generations. We need to think of our great-great-great-great-grandchildren and the grandchildren of Native people as well. I'm personally grateful, and I have been really profoundly touched by the movement in Standing Rock and throughout the country in support of Native American people. I'm really grateful for the Lakota people who have stood up for the land and for our great-grandchildren and for justice and for care for what is sacred in the water. I'm also grateful for the everyday people from how many different tribes that gathered, and tribes and other groups, Black Lives Matter and many others, who walked, who rode cars, who rode buses, who got there to say that we are all relatives. I'm deeply grateful for all the Native American leaders who teach us strongly about the importance of recognizing that we are interconnected, and we are always interconnected. And there are ramifications for every one of our choices because of that connection. I also give thanks for Native American spiritual teachers who help all of us, whether we are Native American or not, to see the connections of all things and all people and all beings. You know, I'm very humbled to stand in solidarity with the community, with our Native American brothers and sisters who are really standing at the forefront of the struggle. And we are there with them. And we are there because we believe in the sacredness of every human being, of all creatures and the earth. And so thank you.
All right. Sorry, our final speaker is Mark Steiner, who works for the Peace Education Program and is director of the Eco-Spirituality nonprofit Cultivating Connections. He has been working to protect our environment for more than 25 years and was one of a dozen Louisville activists arrested at the White House in 2011 protesting Keystone XL pipeline. Mark.
Hello, good people. So delighted to see you all here today. So thankful for your presence and thankful for the speakers who have come and shared before me today. I'm also particularly thankful for those who are claiming the name, the title, the responsibility of water protectors. This is so important. It may be something that we need to all claim. We've been calling ourselves demonstrators, activists, protesters, tree huggers, and in some ways this language might be old. It might be time for new language that hasn't been taken away from us, because some of that language has some baggage, doesn't it? They use those words to demean our movement and our actions. So my short comments today are to encourage all of us, whether we feel like it's really ours or not, it is time to step up and everyone to claim water protector. There is no one too old. There is no one too young. There is no one with not the right education. Are you breathing? Is your heart beating? Then you can be and you need to be a water protector. Now is the time. Let us claim this name and use it to our advantage. And so if you don't already know it, let me tell you right now, you are all water protectors. So if I can, I'm going to share with you 5 things that you could do as next steps as water protectors.
The feedback.
So, this is just the beginning, but if we can all leave here today and embrace these 5 things, it will really help. So number 1, contribute to the Sacred Stone Camp Legal Defense and Supply Funds. Number 2, call the White House. Tell President Obama to rescind the Army Corps of Engineers permit. We all should have this number memorized, right? 202-456-1111. 202-456-1111. 3, spread the word on social media. Social media made this crowd so much bigger than it would have been today. Use the power we have. The hashtag NODAPL. No DAPL. 4, support clean energy legislation and policy at all levels. Locally, nationally, internationally. Show up for that. And that's our big close. Number 5, like today, the next time you hear for the call for solidarity, show up.
Yeah.
You are water protectors.
I guess he's done. Great job, Mark. So this concludes the speakers. Just one final note. No, Mark already said that. GoFundMe, Sacred Stone Camp. That's where you can go to make donations. Thanks again to our speakers and to everyone for being here. As we depart, Chief Matthew Black Eagle is going to sing. You're welcome to stay for that as long as you want, but the speaking will be over. So let's keep the drums beating for the folks in Standing Rock and for all those who work to protect our sacred water and this sacred planet. Thank you.
This song is sung in my language, and the words translated say, somebody out there is praying for me. Father, I will live. So that's what the words say. So when you hear me singing this song, that's our prayer as a heart. And whenever we gather for ceremony and prayer, we try to get a focus and intent to take out into our prayers. So that's the song, and it goes like this. Thank you.